Okay, welcome everyone. I am so delighted that you've made your way to this webinar today. I'm especially happy to have Lauren Fogelman with us today and her husband Steve to help um, to really share her expertise and help you understand how to raise your rates without losing clients. And I think this is something that many practitioners struggle with. And so I'm really, really interested to see what Lauren and Steve have to say today. And I just can't wait. So I'm going to pass it over to you, Lauren. I'm going to go on mute. And I'm also going to go on hide my camera. So I'll just be on the back end and let me know when you'd like questions. And I'll be also launching the poll for you. All
Thank
right.
you.
Thank you.
That's great.
First of all, I just want to say welcome. Thank you so much for joining us today. And I know that you are busy working in your business, serving your clients, and want to acknowledge you for stepping away to join us, working on your business, getting that one insight, that actionable tip that you can go ahead and immediately employ to be able to raise the level of the services that you offer and also raise the bar as far as being on the path to having your dream firm. So thank you for joining us today. And today's topic is critical steps to raise your rates without losing clients. So many accounting professionals I speak with, your work is meaningful. What you do for your clients is very, very important. It makes a difference. And so often your rates don't reflect the value that you offer. So I am on a mission to be able to correct that. And that's part of what we're really digging deep into today. If you find that you're meeting with initial potential clients during those consultations, and somehow those consultations turn into pick your brain session, we give away a lot of information for free. Or possibly you don't really like the sales part and you get to the end where it's time to discuss your services. And as soon as maybe there's some silence, or a little bit of pushback, you immediately discount your rates. They might not even have asked for one. And the other thing that I see coming up a lot is that it's easier to raise your rates with new clients who have never worked with you. And then the old clients who have been with you from the very beginning are remaining at their old original rates. So now you have clients at a wide range of prices, and we need to get your old clients up to your new rates. So if any of those things are true for you, then you are absolutely in the right place. Steve, please go ahead and introduce yourself.
Lauren, I'd love to. So hi, my name's Steve Fogelman. As you can see by the last name, Lauren and I are related. We've been living together, working together, and married for quite a while. So let's see, I'm a therapist turned business coach, and I am going to be working the Q&A, and I will also be doing the polls. And while we're doing those polls, that would be a great time if you have a question for Lauren, put that into Q&A or ask that question if you want to unmute yourself, if you're brave enough. And I'll be sure to make sure that we get that question over to Lauren. Lauren, it's back to you.
Thank you. A little bit about me is I'm a sports psychologist turned business coach. And what I have found is from working with athletes and business owners is there are so many similarities. And there's a couple differences also. One is that athletes from the very beginning, when they're peewees, have someone on the outside that is mentoring them, training them, giving them insights and coaching them to really hit their peak performance as quickly as possible. The other thing is athletes wear slightly different uniforms than accounting professionals do. And the third thing is that they are aiming for different numbers than you are. So those are the main three things that I see that are different about athletes who are really looking to be at the best of their game, and entrepreneurs, accounting professionals who are really looking to have their dream firm. Another thing about me is I have been listed as one of the top 22 business coaches by HubSpot from 2018 to 2022, and that is my Amazon #1 bestseller, The Success Solution. Our education, and this applies to me as well as to you, gave you the know-how, the insights to be able to do what you do really, really well. And it also has a couple gaps. The very first thing that I found is that it prepared me to be an employee instead of an employer or a business owner. So I had to figure out how to be able to do some things in order to have a firm that I run instead of a firm that was going to be running me. And you might understand what I'm talking about when I say that. So the very first thing I had to figure out was how to be able to know the right words to communicate my value, whether it is on social media, in-person networking events, or during those initial consultations. But really having those right words was the very first thing I had to figure out. And then the second thing I needed to learn was how to enroll clients when I didn't really want to do the sales part. Being salesy just didn't feel right for me, trying to pressure someone into working with me or handing their money over where it was really transactional, because I'm all about the client and the relationship. So I wanted that to come through from the very beginning all the way to the very end when we were talking about moving forward. And then the very third thing I had to look at is how to price my services when I didn't want to connect my fees to time with an hourly rate. And that's what I found that accounting professionals need as well, is how to communicate their value, how to enroll new clients without being salesy, and how to be able to price their services in order to be able to earn more without having to max out their time or burning out. What we will cover today is the number one profit solution, the formula, and convert existing clients. I will absolutely give you as much as I possibly can in the short time that we have together today. If you're interested in knowing more, talking further, I'll show you how to do that in order to keep the conversation going.
Well, Lauren, what are the steps to increase income without working additional hours?
This is right from the Raise Your Rates formula, which I have created. And even if you just take the essence of the 5 steps, you will begin to take charge of your firm and work with higher quality clients. So the very first thing is recognizing that there's a difference between low value clients and high value clients. And to really understand what it is that matters to those high value clients and what it is that they are looking for when they are considering working with your firm, or someone that's a high value client that you're already working with, what makes them want to continue working with you. So really getting an understanding from their point of view as to what matters most to them when they're looking to hire an accounting professional. And then that helps us with step number 2, which is communicating your value. If you are able to really understand what it is that appeals to high value clients, then you can find the right words to be able to attract more of them to you, where they want to know more about what you have to offer, and they can see the value of enrolling and engaging your services. Number 3 will be packaging your services. When I look at an accounting professional's website and I go to their services page, there's usually this long laundry list of all the different things that they can offer their clients. And that really commoditizes your service, focusing on the tasks that you do as opposed to the expertise that you offer. So what we do is when we package your services is we take all those different things and we bundle them together into packages that focus on the outcomes and really answers the question of why somebody ought to be working with you. So that starts to separate your fees from time. Number 4 is value pricing. It's what we're going to take a deep dive into today. What I'm going to show you in the second section of our conversation today is that when you start to move in the direction, and I'm going to give you the step-by-step formula on how to do that today. But when you start to move in that direction, it is possible to earn 2 to 3 times more than what you're currently charging without having to work any additional hours. So we're taking a deep dive into that today, and I'll give you the exact formula. And then number 5 is consultation mastery. This is if you're just like me and you don't like the sales part. You don't want to pressure someone into working with you, or you wing it and you do it a little bit differently every single time and there's no structure or process. Mm-hmm. So if you want to be able to have clients see the value of working with you, then the very first meeting that you have with them, that initial consult, you want to have what I call a value conversation instead of a sales conversation. When you have a value conversation, you're asking great questions. There's no need to sell or pitch your services. At the end of that conversation, those interested clients actually naturally ask, how does this work? So those are the 5 steps of the Raise Your Rates formula: is high value clients, communicate your value, package your services, value pricing, and consultation mastery.
Well, thank you for that, Lauren. So we're gonna go ahead and get started. The first thing we're gonna look at is the number 1 profit solution. But before we do that, we have our first poll. So rate your pricing confidence. I am highly satisfied with my rates. I'm afraid to raise my rates. I get paid a little and I work a lot. Once again, rate your pricing confidence. I'm highly satisfied with my rates. I'm afraid to raise my rates. I get paid a little, but I work a lot. And like I said, this would be a great place if you do have a question for Lauren or myself, but probably for Lauren. Please go ahead and either put that in the Q&A, or you can unmute yourself and have a little conversation with us, and we will be sure to get that question answered. And we can go ahead and close that down.
Yeah, we've got a few more people to weigh in here, folks. We've only got about 70% of you.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So go ahead and
great.
put your answers in so that we know where you're at.
Yeah, that would be
And
great.
Steve, we're going to do all the questions through the Q&A today.
Okay, Q&A. Got it.
Perfect.
All right, we'll go ahead and shut it down.
Okay, thank you,
3,
Allison.
2, 1. All right, and we'll go ahead and share the results.
Okay, so highly satisfied with my rates is 26%. Afraid to raise my rates is 42%, and I get paid a little and I work a lot is actually 32%.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
So internal resistance, often there's an internal resistance between first thinking about raising your rates and actually doing it, especially with those legacy clients. Why does this tend to happen?
Well, I believe that raising your rates, no matter what size your firm is, whether you're solo or you're working for one of the big 4, it is probably one of the toughest things that you have to decide upon in your firm. So no matter what size your firm is, it is a challenge. And first, we have to connect with our own value. We have to convince ourselves that we're going to actually do it instead of just continuing to think about it for a very, very long time. But that means that you might have to work through some of the resistance of, my clients can't afford to pay me any more than what they're already paying me. Where I live in my region, this is the going rate. This is the average. I don't have enough credentials to be able to raise my rates. Nobody else is charging that much. Who do I think I am? I don't want the pushback from my clients. And what if my clients leave me? So often we have to first sell ourselves into the fact that we are so worth it. Your services are higher value than what you're charging your clients. They are getting a great deal. But when your rates are too low, they get a great deal. And what you end up is getting burned out. And I want that to change, because I want you to have a firm that supports your lifestyle and raises the quality of life instead of taking away from it. So first we have to sell ourselves before we can go ahead and start to expect anybody else to see the value that we have to offer.
Well, accounting professionals are really hard workers. What are the common options for increasing profits?
There's actually 3 ways that you're able to increase profits in your firm. One is more clients, but so often more clients means more of your own time. And eventually you max out. There's no more time left to give. So that would then max out your revenues also. The second way is cutting cost. That's another way to increase profits also. And the third one is actually about raising your rates. Now, if you're working with more clients or you're cutting costs, both of those aren't just a direct 1-to-1 ratio of more equals more in your bank account or more in your profit margin. The only one that really is that 100% turnover is if you're raising your rates and you're not working any additional hours, you're just now charging fees that reflect the value of what you have to offer. That is something that becomes pure profit. So once again, 3 different ways: And there's no right or wrong. It might even be a combination, but just be really mindful of which way you want to approach.
And actually, Laura, before we move on, I've got a couple of questions that came in for the Q&A. Do you want to take them now, or do you want to hold off?
I'd like to hold off until we do the poll, and we can
Absolutely.
do that. Thank
So
you.
what do we need to consider about our clients?
Well, in the beginning, when we need some cash flow and we need that validation that what we're doing is really something that we're onto something and this can work for us, we take a wide range of clients from low value to high value, anybody who is willing to pay your fees. And we're happy to have them. But as you've had your firm for a while, you realize that there's a difference between low value clients and high value clients. And some of the qualities about low value clients is that they are late for everything. They're late responding to your communications. They're late paying your invoice. They might be late for showing up for meetings with you. And sometimes they don't even show up at all. And they forgot to let you know that they weren't going to do it or it wasn't on their calendar. So they are late for everything. They also might treat you like an employee, or maybe they treat you well, but then they treat your staff like an employee. Or possibly that they don't really see the value of working with you and they challenge your invoices and what they're paying you as far as the fees are. So those are some of the things about low value clients. Now, at the opposite end of the spectrum are those high value clients. And with the high value clients, they really respect boundaries. So they are not going to text you Friday, 8 o'clock at night, expecting you to drop everything and answer their test within the next 15 minutes. And then if you don't answer your text, they're going to go ahead and text your spouse, why aren't you getting back to me? And this is something that actually happened to one of my clients. I cannot make that up. So those are clients that, you know, that your high value clients have boundaries, then they don't have those unrealistic expectations that you don't have a life and you're available 24/7. The other thing is that when you do reach out to them, they communicate right back. They are responsive. They're eager for your input and they actually follow through on your recommendations. They are someone who is actually not price sensitive and they really see the benefits of working with you and having you on their team as a resource. So those are some of the different qualities between low value and high value. And in order to be on the path to your dream firm, we want you to have more of those high value clients and be able to not have as many other low value clients. So those are some of the things to think about, is there's a range between the low and the high value, and we want you to have more of those high value clients. Allison, if you don't mind muting yourself, thank you. Okay, so Steve, go for it.
What are the benefits of raising the value of a client?
Well, you want to look at this now in another way. When you have low value clients, that means that this is more transactional. It's the factory type of approach to having a business. You need a lot of clients to meet your revenue needs. It's like cranking out all those 1099s in January or doing 1,000 tax returns during that short span of tax season. So you're really focusing on the quantity to meet your revenue needs, and it's very, very transactional. If you go to the other end of the spectrum, which is high value clients, then it's really emphasizing the quality of the relationship. You actually know the names of all your clients and you know a little bit about them. Some you know better than others. You can really focus on some of those higher level services that you might want to do, but you don't have the time or the capacity to do at this point in your firm right now with the way things are structured. So once again, low value clients focuses on quantity and the factory model. It's very transactional. High value clients means you don't need as many to meet your revenue needs, and you can focus more on the quality of the relationship and serving them at a higher level, including advisory services if that interests you. Now, if you want to think about how to be able to understand the value of a client, it's a pretty easy formula. What I want you to do is look at your clients and how much they invest in you over the course of 12 months and average it out. And that gives you an idea as to what the average value of a client is for you. As you go through this exercise, and my clients do this actual exercise, if you go through this, you're going to realize a couple of things. One is you might have some clients who are actually not profitable at all, and you're running in the red with them. The other thing you might realize is sometimes your highest paying client is a low value client because the scope of work might have changed, but your fees remain the same. So that's something to think about, is really start to get out that Excel spreadsheet, see where all your clients are, average it out, and see if you're satisfied with that number or not.
Well, Lauren, I know that you talked about the benefits of actually raising the value of a client, and I see that would be a great thing to kind of focus on.
Yes, so these are some of the benefits when we start to have your rates reflect your value, and we're getting you to the point where you can charge more and you can work more closely with your clients, is that now it's about the relationship instead of the transaction. It's no longer about doing those 1,000 tax returns during tax season or cranking out all those 1099s. The other thing is now it's not just about the inputs that you're doing, your workflow, you're actually partnering with your clients to focus on some result that matters to them. That is very, very high value. And it starts to put you in that advisory services position as well. The other value is being able to raise your rates. As you're doing this, you're working with clients who are less price sensitive, and that they see the benefit of continuing to have you on their team and as a resource. The next thing is, because you're focusing more on the quality of the relationship with these clients and really helping them focus on a result that's important to them, they are more loyal clients. They are loyal to you. They're not loyal to the low price. They are loyal to you. And as a result of that, they'll stay with you longer and longer. And then the last thing is, as you have these really loyal clients that have stayed with you now for a long time, they're not going anywhere, it means that we've been able to increase the lifetime value of a client. So those are some of the things to think about, and the benefits of being able to raise the value of your services to your client and also have that be reflected in the fees that you charge. When I was first working with Karen, she was all things to all people. She had an open door policy, so people could walk into her office at any time they want without an appointment. And as a result, it would just throw off her whole workflow for the day. She also was doing a lot of different things. And even though she had a staff, there were a lot of lower level tasks that she continued to do herself, which kept her from doing some of those more profitable projects for her clients. So what we did is we started to really focus on what was the highest value that she brought to the table for her clients, how to be able to communicate that and be able to raise her fees with her current clients. As a result of that, she was making 3 times more than what she was originally making when she separated her fees from time. The other thing that happened with Karen is that she had a dream of buying a particular type of home as and being able to renovate it. She loved renovating homes, and she finally bought her dream home of a turn-of-the-century home that needed a complete overhaul. And this was her dream for her. This was a true milestone. And during the course of us going through this, being able to change the structure of her firm so that she was now more in charge, instead of it being open to clients telling her how to work and interrupting her all the time, she was able to not only purchase that dream home, but spend the time renovating it as well without it affecting her revenues. So just think about, if you can get back some of your personal time to do those passion projects that you have, and it didn't lower your bank account, what difference would that make for you? And this is some of the things that we did do while we were working together, is we packaged her services, which I mentioned earlier as part of the Raise Your Rates formula. It's step number 3, is we focus, she primarily works with attorneys, and we created a silver, gold, and diamond package for her. And this is just for you to look for inspiration. It's proprietary to Karen, but she allowed me to share for inspiration as to what the packages could look like if you started to separate your fees from time as well.
Well, Lauren, the next thing we're going to be looking at is the formula. I love that, the formula. But before we do that, we have our next poll question. How do you charge your clients? Do you charge an hourly rate, a flat fee, value pricing, or a combination? Once again, how do you charge your clients? Do you charge hourly rate, flat fee, value pricing, or a combination? And Lauren, we do have two questions actually that came in through our Q&A. This is an anonymous attendee, but thank you, anonymous. How much of our difficulties are related to a fear of rejection?
Well, to be honest, what I found for myself, as well as the accounting professionals that I work with, is we're typically the bottleneck to our own success. We get out in our own way. And it's because we're afraid of making a mistake. We don't want to disappoint someone. We don't want to have the pushback where it might feel confrontational. So understanding that there might be some fear of rejection is normal for most of us, because you're in a very customer-centric profession where you want to serve your clients and you want them to be happy with you. You don't want to get them upset with you, or you might be afraid of a bad review on Google or something like that. So it might be that you hold yourself back from doing some things because of the fact that you don't want that pushback or have what might feel like an uncomfortable conversation. And what I just want to say is that it is possible to do this and be very, very customer focused without getting the pushback, and understanding how to be, and if it does come up, because there might be questions and objections, how to be able to do that in a way that feels authentic and graceful for you. So it's not that you can't do it, you might just not know how to approach some of those things when they do come up. And
Well,
Steve, let's go ahead and hold off on the next question, and we'll do
Sure.
that during the next poll, okay?
Absolutely. So how do you charge your clients? Hourly rate, 14%, flat fee, 10%, value pricing, 10%, and a combination is actually 67%.
If you want to get the essence of value pricing, then basically this is really the essence, is the client needs to believe that what they have to gain from investing in your services is greater than the fees that you're charging them. And I'm just going to say that one more time. The client needs to believe that what they have to gain from investing in your services is greater than the fees that you're charging them. So when you're able to help them see the benefits of working with you, and those benefits exceed what they are paying for your services, then it ought to be an easy yes for them.
Well, what does it mean when you say that 5% leads actually to 22%?
Research has shown that if you even do that small 5% increase in your services to your clients, that you ought to see it reflected about 22% increase in your profit margin. So once again, the research has shown a 5% increase in your fees leads to a 20% increase in your profit margin.
Wow. So determining value can often be confusing. What things do clients need to consider when they're deciding to hire your firm?
This is true for all of us when we're looking at making some type of investment, whether it's with a service provider or with a purchase. We're looking at three different things when we're considering making some type of purchase or investment. And the three things is quality, second is service, and the third is cost. And as you can see, cost is number 3 on the list. It is not number 1. And quality is about the relationship. People want to know that they actually matter to you. You care about them. You want them to succeed because of the fact that they chose to engage your services. They don't want it to be transactional where you don't remember anything about them. You don't even know their name, or they're just money in the bank for you. Nobody wants to be that. We all want to have some type of relationship. And we've all had customer service experiences that go both sides, where there's been horrible customer service experiences, and then when there's been fantastic ones that delight us. So the more that you're able to really have a client-centered firm that focuses on the quality of the relationship, that has very high value to your clients. And I'll get a little bit more into that in section 3 today. And then the other part is service delivery. People need to believe that they can trust you to follow through in the time that you promised for what they are engaging you to do. So once again, they want to know that not only do you have the skill set and the tools, but that you have the know-how and that you are going to be of integrity and follow through on the timeline that you promised to deliver those services. And if you're not, let's face it, sometimes things happen. People are very forgiving. They'd rather you communicate that there might be some type of change than just avoid it and ignore it. So once again, people care about the quality of the relationship. They want to know that they can trust you to follow through on what they've hired you to do. And then the third thing is cost. And think of it this way. Each and every one of us, we want the best that we possibly can get for what our budget is and allows us to invest in. So we all want the best that we can possibly get for our budget. So once again, the things that people consider is quality, service, and cost. And the only clients that put cost at the top of the list are your price-sensitive clients. So those clients who really want to get as much from you as possible and pay as little as possible, those are the ones that prioritize cost. Everybody else is going to put quality and service and look to get the best value possible for what they can afford. So something to think about then is when you're meeting with clients, whether this is new clients during that initial consultation or meeting with your legacy clients because you're getting ready to raise your rates and you want to have a conversation with them because you are about the relationship. They've been with you for a long time. You want to have a value conversation instead of a pitch. And the way that it works is you want to understand what the challenges are. What is it that a potential new client has reached out to you about? What's going on? Why does this matter? Why is this happening around now? What would make a difference if they were able to get that result? What concerns do they have about maybe achieving that result? So you want to understand the challenges that are going on with that client. And those same questions actually apply to your current clients also, is understand what it is that they want to achieve over the next 12 months and find out why this matters, if they have any concerns. And as you're listening to those answers, and this means that you're really listening very, very attentive because you have a client-centered business and you want them to know that the relationship matters. So listen attentively. And as you're doing that, you want to think about what are some of the solutions you can offer them in order to help them achieve that thing that is of value to them. When you're doing this, you don't have to pitch your services, but what you're doing is actually educating them about how you can help them move forward or remove a problem. And as you connect their challenges and educate them about your solutions, then they will see the value of working with you. And that is really the essence of a value conversation.
Well, Lauren, what you shared, it really goes into the mindset about pricing and also buying decisions. Many of our clients want to earn more, but they're really unsure how to start. What do you recommend to start separating their fees from time and help them transition to value pricing?
Well, if you've been taking notes, get your pens ready, because I'm going to give you the exact formula on how to start shifting away from either a fixed fee that's connected to time and cost or your hourly rate. And then later on, I'll share a resource where you can actually get it all as well. But the very first thing is, these are the first steps to value pricing. This is how to start to move in that direction. It's similar to learning how to ride a two-wheel bicycle. And in the beginning, you're really, really shaking and you're off balance and you might even fall and skim your knees. I totally understand that. So this is how to gracefully start moving in this direction. And I call it good, better, best pricing. And what you want to do is you're going to have new clients coming to you. And with these new clients, I want you to come up with what would that fixed fee be that you would originally charge them. Usually it's by calculating your time by your hourly rate and coming up with that flat fixed fee. And now we're going to give them your new good rates. So you're going to take that original flat fixed fee and we're going to multiply it by 1.5. That is your new good rate. Propose the 1.5. And once you enroll 3 people at your new good rate, then we're going to start to move up to the better rate. And as you're enrolling 3 people at this new good rate, what's going to happen is you're going to get awareness that people aren't quite as price sensitive as you thought that they were. So once again, after 3 people, we move up to tier 2, which will be your better rate. Once again, you're going to have people coming to you. Go ahead and calculate that original fixed fee you would have been charging them by your time and your hourly rate. Now what we're going to do is multiply it by 2. So this means that you're going to be offering them the service for double what you originally would have charged, no additional time spent working. But by doing this, you are getting better at having that initial value conversation, understanding what questions might come up, how to be able to answer them, and you start working with a better level of client because of that. And once again, we're going to have you enroll 3 people in that new better rate. After that, we jump up to the 3rd tier, which is your new best rate. Once again, you're going to have these potential new clients come into you, calculate what that original fixed fee would have been, and now we're going to multiply it by 3x. Moving to the best rate takes courage, not confidence. The confidence comes later. I recognize you might be shaking in your boots as you are giving them your new best rate. That is understandable. But just imagine what it's going to be like when you get that yes. And someone says yes, and now you're getting paid 3 times more than what you originally were receiving for that same service. As a result of this, you don't need as many clients in order to meet your revenue needs. This means that you can focus more on a client relationship. You get back some of your personal time. If you've been wanting to add in advisory services, you now have the capacity to do that. And it also is that you're going to gain confidence as you're moving in this direction. You're going to realize the value of the services that you're going to bring to the table and that people are hiring you for your expertise. And you happen to do accounting, bookkeeping, and taxes too. So they're hiring you for your expertise first and the fact that you can do these other services as well. So that is the good, better, best price model to be able to start moving to value pricing. And after a while, we're going to need to recalibrate. We're going to go through this all over again, where your best rate becomes your good rate, and you go through the good, better, best pricing all over again to continue having your rates reflect your value. When I first met Susan, she had really low rates and she was working 7 days a week, 70 hours a week, because she needed a lot of clients in order to meet her revenue needs. And she didn't like the pushback. She didn't like rejection. She wanted people to like her. And as a result of that, she wanted to make it an easy yes for people. But in making it an easy yes for people also led her to burnout and no time with her family. Everybody suffered. So what we did is we started to really change things around, because she recognized that her current business model, it wasn't sustainable. And she tried changing her prices and going over to value pricing before with other models, and it just didn't work for her. So she was really ready to dial it in this time. And because she's an accounting professional, she keeps everything on a spreadsheet. So I want to bring your attention to cleanup number 1. And if you can see, she would have charged $1,500 for this project before we started working together. This project came to her. We had a quick conversation. I was able to help her see the value from the client's point of view. I gave her the questions to ask so that she could have a value conversation instead of a cold pitch. I was able to show her how to have this client invest in her services before she even started doing the work, so she didn't have to worry about getting paid afterwards or invoicing. And as a result of her following this step-by-step process where it's done for you, It's just plug and play. She was able to do it. She did not have the confidence. She was very, very nervous the entire time, but she had the courage to do it anyway because her current business model wasn't sustainable. They said yes. As a result, she made an additional $6,400 profit because of that. She probably would have originally undercharged for the cleanup project anyway, because she always did. And she recognized the clients weren't as price sensitive as she thought they were. As a result of it, over the next 9 months, she bought an additional $56,000. And she went from that 7-day, 70-hour work week down to 3 days, 20 hours. And that was a game changer because she was no longer burned out. She had time to spend with her family, and she was able to serve her clients without having to take away from her personal life. So just think about what that would be like for you if you can go ahead and raise your revenues and get your personal time back.
And Lauren, the other part of that with Susan is that she actually got paid up front.
Yes, she did. She did get paid up front.
And before we get into the final section where you're actually going to be discussing the value pricing even further, I've been getting some private messages about how do I implement this value pricing? And I know that you have a free resource.
If you are looking to start moving in the direction of value pricing and you want to follow the good, better, best model, and also start looking at how to package your services, because that's something that you've thought about doing before, then I suggest you go ahead and grab my free resource. It's to increase your rates and start moving in the direction of value pricing. And you can get it at businesssuccesssolution.com/package. Once again, if you're ready to raise your rates without the pushback, go to businesssuccesssolution.com/package, and you can start to implement that right away.
Great, Lauren. It's really exciting. So what's next? What's next is how to convert existing clients. But before we do that, we have our next poll question. How often do you raise your rates? More than once per year? Annually? Less than once per year? Once again, how often do you raise your rates? More than once per year, annually, or less than once per year? And now, drum roll, please. We're going to get to Michael's question, which has been sitting there for a while. Does high value equal high income client?
Not necessarily. I think it depends on that client's mindset and whether they see you as an investment or a cost. If they see you as a cost, they're going to be looking at your inputs and the things that they do because they will view you as a technician. And if they are able to see you as a consultant and focus on your expertise and the value of that, then they won't be as price sensitive. And I've seen some very savvy startups who are able to actually invest at a high level because they recognize the importance of having accurate financials. And an example is let's just go with people that are doing SaaS products or are startups that need some outside angel funding, or they're looking for getting a loan for their business and they need to have the financials to be able to do that. Or possibly they're looking for a very nice grant and they need to have something that will show that they have their finances in place. So something to think about is it depends on the client and the client's mindset. And if they see the value of working with you and they see you as an investment instead of a cost, it doesn't mean that you have to work with clients that are solely bringing in large revenues to be able to go with your higher level package.
Great. And we got the results of our poll. How often do you raise your rates? More than once per year, 0%. Annually, 50%. Less than once per year is also 50%.
So something to think about as you're considering moving in this direction of raising rates with your legacy clients is studies have once again shown, so this isn't me just saying I found the research for you, is clients have a relationship with you. Trust, they trust you to deliver on what you promise to deliver what they engage your services for, and they have a relationship with you. They have been with you for a long time. Recognize people have stuff around money. They don't want everybody knowing what their financials are, or possibly that you already know them and what's going on in their business. They don't want to have to start over. And a lot of times, maybe they had tried that before, starting over with someone new, and what that person promised wasn't actually what they delivered. So people have a relationship with you, and there is a lot of value to the relationship. They don't want to start all over again. And because of that, studies have shown that if you go ahead and raise your rates, you can retain about 82%, and I've seen it up to 100% of your current clients. It's a matter of actually following the formula and the process in order to do it with grace and ease. So this isn't about sending out a letter and telling them, oh, my costs have gone up and I want you to take the burden of that. So that we don't want that to be a reason for raising rates, because that's happening to all of us. So we want to do it in a way that is client-centered, and we'll go through the steps in this section.
Well, accounting professionals, they often want to raise their rates, and they've been actually pondering for months and sometimes for years before they actually do it. How do you successfully transition your clients to your new prices?
Well, people have been thinking about it for a long time. This isn't something that you think about today and you implement tomorrow. It can be on your mind for months, years, maybe right from the get-go, and you've never, ever raised your fees, especially with your legacy clients. So the very first thing you want to do is make the decision that you're going to communicate to them and send them some type of letter, whether by email or regular mail. However you typically communicate with them. My clients tend to do email, and they're sending out some letter that they are making changes in their business model, and they want to go ahead and have a conversation on how this is going to benefit their clients. So they're making it client focused, and they're really focusing on how to explain this to the client right from the very beginning. It's all about the client. It's not about you. So you're going to send them a letter that you're making some changes to your business model that enhances the level of services that you're offering your clients. The next thing you want to do is your letter's going to say that I want to meet with you. So the second thing is, if you have someone on your team that can reach out to your clients and set up a conversation with you, get that on the calendar. If you are solo and you're doing it yourself, then reach out to your clients and schedule that conversation. So that's step number 2, is scheduling that conversation, getting it on the calendar. Step number 3 is having that valued conversation. So once again, this is not about justifying why you're raising your fees and having to pitch them. What you want to do is ask them great questions that focus on what's important to them. And there's 3 things. There's needs, wants, and desires. The needs are the very essentials that they ought to have in order to make great business decisions regarding their particular business. The wants are things that they know they ought to have in place, but either they are unable to do themselves or they don't have the time to do it themselves. And the desires are future focused. This is about understanding what is a milestone for them, what is a sign of success or an achievement that deeply matters to them, and showing them how you can partner with them on that future success. The more that you can actually show them how you can partner with them on that future success, that is where your value is. It's not about what you can do today. It's about helping them with where they're going and where they want to be tomorrow. And if you can show them how to do it to get there faster, better, easier, with less cost, that is where the gold is. That is where your value is really going to come up, and they're going to see it and not be price resistant. So once again, having that value conversation focuses on needs, wants, and desires. Something to think about is, as you're having these conversations, especially with your legacy clients, people don't like change. They're going to say, there's going to be some pushback. Okay, let's just go there. Somebody might have resistance. The people that tend to have the most resistance are your price sensitive clients. So I want you to understand that. Some of your clients that have been with you for a long time and haven't had a rate change, they've been wondering why you've been taking so long. So they're not surprised. Let's also agree on that. but there might be some objections. And instead of the objections feeling confrontational to you, where you go ahead and you lower your rates because you don't want them to be upset with you, or that you close down a conversation, what you want to do is be prepared, because the more prepared you are, the better you'll be able to respond to those objections. I want you to think about what could be the top 5 objections that would come up from a legacy client. And I put 3 here: price, what's going to be different, and they need to think about it. Now, there might be some others that would be coming from your clients, and you might want to think about it. Another one would be time. So time might be a factor as well for them. But think about what those top 5 objections might be. Then what you want to do is write down some sound bites of how you would like to respond to them. So now you're prepared instead of being caught off guard. And then the last thing is you want to go ahead and practice this out loud, whether it's with a fur baby, in front of your mirror, with somebody else, just out loud to yourself. You want to go ahead and practice that sound bite out loud. And that's the most difficult part of this exercise. But the reason I'm encouraging you to do that is because how you write something out and how you actually say it are going to be slightly different. And when you are responding to it, I don't want you to sound scripted. I want it to be a natural response that you can do with ease and grace. So this is like having a dress rehearsal before opening night. So once again, know what the objections might be, write out your script, practice it out loud, do that dress rehearsal, because then when opening night comes, you're going to be well prepared. And then the 5th step is the payment part. We need to discuss what that is going to be. And this is where you want to be able to maybe consider how to discuss the payment and moving forward. With my clients, what we're going to do is come up with 3 packages, and they're going to have some options, because now they're deciding how to move forward with you and which package is going to be a best fit. This also puts you in the place of being an advisor, helping them decide what's in their best interest instead of your best interest. The other thing that I would say about the packages is when you give them options, they're now looking at which way they want to move forward with you and which one's the best fit, as opposed to a yes or no of if they ought to move forward with you or if they ought to move on in some other direction. So those are the 5 steps of the Raise Your Rates formula. Is you want to communicate with them that you're making some changes to your business model. You want to get something on the calendar. You want to have that value conversation where you're focusing on their needs, wants, and desires. You want to prepare for those objections. And then you want to discuss how to move forward and what that investment will be. With Rihanna, she was someone who, people pleaser. She said yes to everything. As a result of that, she was doing a wide range of services, working with a wide range of clients. It wasn't very efficient or very effective for her firm. She would be putting the kids to bed and then going back to her computer to do some more client work. And sometimes it will also cut into family activities on the weekend where she couldn't go to their soccer games or their baseball games or anything like that. She would miss some of those events. And what we did is we started to really focus on what her particular niche is. And for her, she actually had 20 years of experience working in the restaurant industry at a corporate level before she went out and opened her own firm. So she focused on the restaurant industry. And as a result of that, we created 3 packages for her, the silver, gold, and the platinum, that really was for restaurant owners. And as you can see, she has all the different services that she offers. And from the different packages, you get different services depending on the level of engagement that you would have with her. And as a result of that, she was able to get her time back. She also started hiring some people to do those lower level tasks for her in order for her to focus more on a higher level advisory services. And she had better clients who were not as price sensitive. So once again, just think about if you had that increased revenue, would it allow you to add on a team member so you can get some of those lower level tasks off of your plate, or maybe make an investment in your business that you couldn't make with your current cash flow.
And Laura, we have another poll question. How interested are you in talking with Lauren further about raising your rates? I'd like to schedule a 15-minute consult with Lauren. This looks interesting. I'd like to find out more, or I'm not interested at this particular time. So once again, how interested are you in talking with Lauren about raising your rates? I'd like to schedule a 15-minute consult. This looks interesting. I'd like to find out more, or I'm not interested at this particular time.
And I did get a question from Sherry, Steve, that I'd
Oh,
like
so
to answer.
So did I.
Oh, go for it. You want to put it out there?
Sure. Is the recommendation to do step-up increase to stair step up to new rates, or do big step up to new pricing tier? Great question.
Yes, it depends on what step up means with a stair step. So if you're looking at small 15, 20% increases over time, don't do that. Your clients, for the most part, aren't that price sensitive, and this means that you're leaving money on the table. What I would do is really consider going from a la carte services where you're invoicing them and paying them after the fact over to packages where they're actually prepaying you. Because once we separate your fees from time, then you can actually go ahead and be more profitable as you add in technology or as you become more efficient because you gain expertise. So my feeling is when I work with my clients, we come up with their packages with their new rates, and we either get their current clients up to their new rates over 2 steps, or we do it in 1 step. And I've done it both ways with different clients. It just depends on what feels better for that client, because I want you to be able to have a conversation that you feel comfortable having, as opposed to one that is going to freak you out and you don't think is going to be possible. And Ted wanted to know if I can comment on pay for results pricing. So when you're looking at value pricing, and paying for results means different things to different people. So paying for results, from what I'm hearing, Ted, might be that if they bring in a certain amount of revenue, then you are going to get a certain percentage of that. And I don't think that that's not my recommendation, because first of all, they're paying you for your expertise and that you're giving them the right recommendations. And when you're paying for result, what you're doing is you're taking a risk or a gamble, because you might be giving them great information that absolutely is going to achieve what it's meant to achieve. But what if they don't follow through? Then you're taking a risk that you might not get compensated to the degree that you ought to, because of the fact that they didn't follow your instructions or recommendations in the way that you had planned out for them. So I believe that it's taking a gamble, and I would rather you get paid upfront to where you're not chasing money, and it's really based on the value of your services. So I would rather you value price a client instead of get paid for results.
Well, what we covered today, Lauren, was the #1 profit solution, the formula, and converting existing clients. And Lauren, you really shared a lot. I mean, this was great. And I think that now some of them can get started. However, I think there are some that are ready to get this done and they don't want to figure this out on their own. What do you recommend for our listeners who would like to talk with you further?
If you feel that you got some value from our time together today, you are ready to raise your rates and you want to get this dialed in sooner than later, you are tired of thinking about it, but you don't know the exact steps to be able to do this, or you need some hand-holding along the way, then let's go ahead and have a conversation. I put aside a couple of slots for a complimentary Path to Profit strategy session. It does have a $500 value. However, it is a dedicated complimentary conversation that really focuses on you and where you want to go. If that interests you, it's at businesssuccesssolution.com/let's talk. Once again, businesssuccesssolution.com/let's talk. And I just want to recognize you taking time away from working in your business, joining us today to get that one insight, that one tip that you can absolutely implement today, and working on your business to raise the bar. Thank you so much. Allison, back to you.
Yeah, and I want to apologize for coughing on mic there, everybody. I'm getting over a cold. We will be sending out a thank you email with the recording, and this link in there. But if you want to go ahead and type it, and I just wanted to warn you, there's 3 S's and 3 S's in there. So business success solution, you got to just make sure you got enough S's in there. But thank you, Lauren. Thank you, Steve. I think that was awesome. And folks, we do have another, we have lots of events coming up. So watch the event schedule on the Grove. And I, like Lauren and Steve, just want to thank you all for joining us today. Thought that was really awesome. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and end it and look for an email tomorrow with all of the information in the recorded webinar. Thanks, everyone. Have a great week. Bye.